Title: Aesthedes. Written by Chris. Chapter 1. Roberts and Smith Associates. The story of how Roberts and Smith Associates discovered Aesthedes and how we later acquired the system is, in my opinion, quite unique. It begins with my business partner Melvin and his interest in developing technologies that could help graphic designers work more efficiently. Melvin was responsible for studio operations. I was a graphic designer myself, but I also handled business development and helped out in our modest design studio. At the time, Melvin had one female designer working with him, and I assisted from time to time. We also employed a female typist. The business was founded by Melvin and myself, each of us contributing £1,000. We rented a single room containing a telephone, 2 A1 drawing boards, a desk, and a few stools. The year was 1984. Perhaps I should explain how Melvin and I came to start Roberts and Smith Associates. We had both trained as graphic designers after leaving university, where we earned our degrees. Over the years, we worked for various design houses, eventually ending up in the design department of a large chain store. The work was acceptable and the pay was reasonable, but I was ambitious and wanted more than a monthly salary. I'd come to know Melvin well and held him in high regard, both as a designer and as a person. I suggested that we might consider setting up on our own. At first, he was reluctant to leave secure employment for what appeared to be a risky venture. In the end, however, I persuaded him to take the leap. Returning to our first office in 1985, it was Melvin who recognized the potential of what was then referred to as electronic design. At that time, all design work was carried out on A1 drawing boards using pens, inks, paint, and transfer lettering known as letraset. Before letraset, type was drawn by hand. While this was straightforward for a skilled designer, it was extremely time-consuming. This was simply how the industry operated in those days. Visuals, concepts, and final artwork for colour separation were produced as black and white overlays on white fashion board. One day in the office, Melvin showed me an article from a graphics magazine about a computer called the Apple Mac. The article claimed that this machine could create line art, visualize designs, and even produce finished black and white artwork, all at the touch of a button or a mouse. At the time, I could see no practical use for such a machine. I regarded it as a tool for people without traditional skills or talent, and I dismissed the idea rather quickly. However, Apple had opened a small demonstration office in Liverpool near the docks. To indulge Melvin, I arranged an appointment to see the machine in action. The Apple Mac, as it existed then, was a very limited device. A black and white 12-inch monitor, a small tower, and a keyboard with a mouse. The demonstrator explained how it worked and showed us some extremely simple vector drawings. I had brought a photograph of the Queen Mary with me, curious to see how photographs or artwork could be transferred into the computer. The demonstrator assured us this was no problem and used a flatbed scanner to scan the image. The computer began to process the image, but nothing appeared on the screen. After several minutes, a thin strip of the photograph appeared at the top of the display, followed by another, and then another. Shortly afterwards, the system crashed. At that point, I stood up, told Melvin that I had work to do, and left. From my perspective, Apple had demonstrated one thing very clearly that day. The system was a complete waste of time. At the time, the Apple Mac cost approximately £2,000, a significant sum for a machine that, in my view, achieved very little.